Open heart, open mind. Welcome to the Satwa channel, the official online platform of the Satwa project. Hello everyone, I'm Hansi.
Hi everyone, I'm Ting Ying. We are from Satwa Youth, bringing Dharma to you and preaching Dharma with you. Satwa Youth is a Buddhist youth program initiated by the Satwa Project.
First of all, on behalf of the Satwa project, we would like to express our thankfulness to our StreamYard sponsor and media partners, Durian Asian and Durian FM. And not to forget also the important man behind the scene, our broadcast director, Brother Chong. Thank you very much for your generous contribution and kind efforts. Hi, Brother Chong. Would you like to say hi to everyone?
Hello, a very good evening to everyone, and welcome to our broadcast this evening. For those of you who are watching, please do like and share so that more people can benefit. And for those who are watching later on YouTube, please do subscribe and like as well. And now back to you, Hansa and Ting Ying.
Okay, thank you, Brother Chongs. Welcome everyone again. We are going to have a very meaningful meditation session tonight, guided by Myong An Sunim. Tonight's topic entitled The Zen of Practicing Patience. Sitting quietly at home, spreading love and kindness all around the globe. Today's live meditation section will be divided into three parts. Each take around 20 minutes. Begin with a short talk, then we'll sit and meditate together for another 20 minutes, followed by question and answer. Lastly, conclude with the dedication prayer. Okay, back to you, Hansi.
Now let me take the opportunity to give a brief introduction about Myong An Sunim. Myong An Sunim was born to a Chinese family in Malaysia in 1959. He received his education in the UK, culminating with an MBA in finance. Sunim began his meditation practice in 1992 after meeting his teacher Zen Master Song San in Hong Kong. He was ordained as a monk in 1997 and spent the next 16 years in Korea doing intensive meditation retreats. He received INCA, the authorization to teach Kongnans and lead retreats from two Zen masters in 2015. Sunim has over 30,000 hours of meditation experience, teaches mindfulness and Zen in Penang and internationally. His teaching approach combines the wisdom of the ancient teacher with the science of meditation to arrive at ways of practice that are suitable to our modern lifestyle. Let us all welcome Myong An Sunim. Over to you, Sunim.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you very much for the introduction. And thank you all for joining us tonight. What I'd like to do tonight is talk a little bit about patience. And patience is actually one of the 6 perfections in Mahayana Buddhism, or we also call it the paramitas. So the others are generosity, morality, energy, meditation, and wisdom. So why patience? Well, 21st century life is very fast paced. I think all of you know, especially if you live in a city. Everything can happen almost instantly. You want some favorite food, you just go to your app and click on Grab or Food Panda, and soon it comes to your door. In China, you can live through your phone. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. You order Didi to work. Whatever you want to buy, you order on Taobao. And everything is delivered as fast as possible. So we become accustomed to living our life with our finger on the fast forward button. I wonder if any of you, when you watch some Netflix movie, you kind of flick forward through the thing, through the boring parts. I don't know if you do. Some people do. So we have already this habit of getting faster and faster. But we don't adapt that fast in terms of our genes. Everything can be done quickly, especially with computers. But as human beings, we are not. Our evolution takes time. So we have this conflict. We expect things to be done immediately, but either physically, mentally, or emotionally, we can't keep up. So there is a stress. And then our lives become quite stressful when we don't have patience. A number of years ago, I was in Hong Kong to do some teaching. And the Zen Center there is on the 5th floor of a quite old building. And it has these two lifts, which are also quite old. But there are, on the ground floor, there's cameras, CCTV, showing you what's inside the lift, probably as a safety thing. And you can see who's inside. So I was waiting on the ground floor, waiting to go up to the Zen Center. And one woman was standing next to me. Both the lifts were up on the, I think, 9th or 10th floor. So we had to wait. One of the lifts started coming down and it stopped, I think, at the 7th floor. Then you can see it stop. And you can also see the door open. Then you'd expect somebody to walk in straight away, but there was like a pause. And then somebody, a fairly old woman, not that old, I think maybe the 60s, she shuffled in a little slowly. And next to me, I could feel this woman getting irritated. And then she couldn't help herself. She just blurted out, "Why is she so slow?" You know? And it wasn't even more than 10 seconds. This lady, obviously, something, maybe she couldn't move so fast, maybe she was ill, or she had some kind of physical thing that stopped her from walking at a normal pace. And she was a little slow, that's true, but 10 seconds is nothing. But this woman next to me couldn't wait. And I was like, when I heard her, I was like, my immediate reaction was a little shocked and surprised because I didn't think that it was any problem, but she was. And then for the whole time for the lift to come down, she was already getting quite agitated. And when the door opened and the lady inside came out, she kind of rushed in. And I thought I better, if I don't want to be scolded by her, I better go in quickly and press my button. But can be a lot of our minds these days. Our patience is not, we can say, it's quite thin. It's very easy to provoke us into impatience. And one of the things that we want to be famous or rich straight away. When we see people showing their lifestyle on Instagram or Facebook, and they look so great, we want that, and we feel as though we need to be able to get that almost instantly, as soon as possible, just like they do. But we don't really know how much time and effort they have spent in becoming successful or become famous. So here's something that I thought about. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to be successful instantly. But instant success takes time. We all forget about how much time and effort has gone in behind a person who has become successful or whatever field they are. We only see the result, and we assume that we can also do it instantly. If we want a good example, think about the Buddha. Okay, I think many people who practice Buddhism or practice meditation, they think about, it'd be great to attain what the Buddha attained, and it can't be that difficult. Why can't I get it straight away? But how long did the Buddha spend practicing, going to two different teachers? It was 6 years in total. And the last few years he spent practicing in a forest in very difficult conditions, and no result. He almost starved to death and didn't get any result. So if he wasn't patient, if he didn't have this determination to keep going, he could have stopped. Maybe he could have stopped 5 years, 11 months, and 3 weeks before he got enlightenment. And then we wouldn't be sitting here because nobody would have known about him, because he just gave up and didn't attain anything. And then no Buddhism. Okay? So that's why it's important sometimes to have patience with yourself, not to expect that everything happens instantly or in the speed that you think that it should, because some things really do need to take time. In Korean, we have the saying, soon hot, soon cold. That means anything that gets hot quickly will get cold quickly. But if you build up the heat, then it stays hot for a long time. So how do we develop our patience? It's really to develop a sense of equanimity. With equanimity comes patience. That means treating all your experiences, especially in meditation, the same, with the same sense of acceptance, with the same sense of openness, and also some curiosity. That means you don't have to feel you have to get somewhere in meditation practice. You don't feel as though you have to attain certain whatever state of mind, whatever somebody tells you. Just practice and allow the experience to flow through you. Whatever will appear will disappear. And if you are mindful of that, you will develop some wisdom about it. So tonight, try to treat whatever appears in your mind, or whatever feelings you experience, or whatever emotions that you feel, just allow them to just flow through you without rejecting them, without holding on to them, without trying to do anything, having some idea about whether it's good or bad. Just have some sense of equanimity. That means this treating everything with equalness. And then we can have some patience with ourselves. Because everything you do, everything you experience, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, is your meditation practice. There's not meditation practice and not meditation practice. Whatever you experience, whatever you are doing during meditation is all meditation practice. So I'd like to encourage you to try that tonight. Just having patience and equanimity. And if you start getting impatient with yourself, getting a bit antsy and, I've got to do something, got to feel something, just remind yourself about the Buddha. He sat there. He practiced for 6 years. So he's a very good example for us in terms of patience and equanimity. So let's try it. I'm just going to do very minimal guidance. So just, practice however you feel is best. So let's sit upright with a relaxed but alert posture. Close your eyes if you like, or if you prefer, you can also have them slightly open, gazing downwards with a soft focus. Allow yourself to settle in your body, settle into meditation. And allow your breath to be natural, which means don't have to do anything about it. Allow your body to breathe itself. No need to control your breath. Just start to feel your breath. Notice your breath. Notice your breathing in. Notice your breathing out, wherever you feel it. Whether it's your belly, your chest, your throat, your nostrils. And then just keep following your breath. So tonight's kind of practicing note is patience. So whenever your mind drifts off, goes somewhere, which it will, just realize it's entirely normal and it's perfectly fine. Then what you do when you notice it is to try to gently let go of your thoughts or anything else that's appeared and come back to your breath. And if you like, you can just very softly, inwardly, silently say to yourself, patience, if you need to. You don't have to use it if you don't. So resting your awareness in your breath, letting your body breathe itself. Allow all experiences, all thoughts, feelings, emotions to just come and go, appear, disappear, and have patience with yourself. No need to rush into anything. Gently keep returning to your breath whenever your mind drifts away. So, taking your time, open your eyes and start to recognize, bring your awareness back to the room again. Stretching your arms and legs if you need to. And thank you for your practice. So now we are open for any of your questions about practice, your life, problems, anything at all. So, your, please feel free to ask.
Thank you very much to Sunim. We really enjoyed this meditation practice section very much. Hope our audience enjoyed too. So now will be our Q&A sections. Everyone, please welcome to write out your question at the comment section. So we'll read it out later. There are a few questions from the floor already. Over to you. Maybe Hansi can help us to read out the first question.
Yeah, okay. So, Sunim, there's a first question from Han Shang. How to practice patience when we are dealing with difficult people or people that often give us trouble, such as spouse, business partners, bosses, teachers, colleagues, etc. Yeah.
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 Oh, that's a very good question. And I think a situation that we encounter in our daily lives. So, the thing we need to realize is that when people are perhaps expressing some uh, difficulties with us, they themselves may also have some issues or problems that they're dealing with in their lives, which may cause them to be difficult or impatient or angry. You don't know what's going on behind. They may have a sick husband or wife in hospital. Maybe their child has had an accident, or maybe something bad has happened in their lives. So you don't really know what is behind that. And you don't have to know, but we can appreciate that people who are showing anger or giving us difficulties, they themselves have some difficulties. And we don't have to take that on in a personal way. It's just that it's like someone giving you a gift, okay? This is a gift of anger. This is a gift of criticism. But if you don't take the gift, who gets left with it? Okay? So it's like, for example, the Dalai Lama. Now, for sure, I mean, he said it, and we are all it's public, so it's not secret. Uh, in the past, I don't know now, but in the past, the Chinese government, all the officials used to call him a demon, a devil, you know, and because they have certain views, political views about him when he was the leader of the Tibetan government in exile. So they call him a demon. And they were very angry with any country that tried to meet with him, like the United States president or anybody tried to meet with him, they would object. So they're giving him a lot of this anger. But he has no issue with them. He realizes, he says, they're a little bit naughty. Okay, that's what he says. He's a little naughty. But he always remains open because I think he realizes it's not, how to say, it's not personal thing. It's that, it's like a political thing or something that some country wants to paint a picture of you, like they give you a gift, but he didn't take it. So, we all know that who gets left with the gift. So sometimes it is not easy. not to react when somebody provokes you. That's why we practice patience. It's not, you're not going to be like a patient, infinitely patient bodhisattva overnight. Okay, sometimes you will react, get angry, and you know, fight back, push back. But just we also have to realize that we need to be patient with ourselves and realize that we also practicing patience. That's a key word, practicing. You know, it's not, we're not perfectly patient people. So sometimes uh, we fail or we are not successful, and that's okay. But as long as we have this intention to practice being patient, then eventually we will be able to do it better, and uh, we can treat difficult people or difficult situations with a sense of equanimity. Because the very important thing is that, you know, if we're all Buddhists, we realize that it's all impermanent. It's not going to last. You know, somebody who's angry with you won't stay angry with you forever. Okay, somebody who says something nasty to you is not going to keep on saying something nasty, and the situation will pass. Even if it's a difficult situation, it will pass. Your feelings about it will pass unless you cling to it and you keep holding on to the situation and saying, "This is so unfair. I should not be treated like this. You know, I do not deserve this. I am right, they're wrong." Then, of course, you will have difficulties. But if we learn to practice patience and equanimity, then we can, you know, have a less suffering life, less difficult life, and our life becomes more smooth. Not just like the Dalai Lama, he laughs about all this stuff that, uh, you know, not, I don't think it's so much nowadays that because he's no longer the political leader of the Tibetan government in exile, so he's not such a big target anymore. But you know, you can still laugh about it. So if he can laugh about it, why can't we? We're all humans. Okay.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Sunim. Oh, this one like answer me a lot. Like because usually we really couldn't think of that person also have these conditions that we need to consider. That's why like we cannot practice the equanimity at the moment when we're facing the issue. But then
Sure.
that is really a good reminder. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sunim.
Sure.
Okay,
You're
so
welcome.
I think there's a questions too. It is quite similar, but then it's like another type of question actually coming back to ourselves. Like how do we have the patient ourselves? The question is like from Michael, how to practice patience when there's two conditions. The first, we are doing our formal practices like meditation, chantings. Sometimes maybe like a sitting will feel a little bit like very slow, very bad, or full with wandering mind. So like how to practice the patience. And then the second conditions will when we are applying the Dharma that we are learning into our day-to-day living. So how do we have the patience when we are practicing all this?
Yeah. I, you know, we all experience this. I've done like 3 month retreats for well, 15 years or so. Every year, two retreats, two. So every year, 6 months. I used to be in meditation retreat, and there are times when you're sitting and you're waiting for the meditation session to end. You know, in Korean Zen style, they hit this wooden thing called chukpi, and they hit it 3 times. And sometimes time passes very quickly, and sometimes you just cannot wait. You think, the guy who is hitting the chukpi must have fallen asleep. He's no longer aware of the clock. It must be way after when we should get up and finish meditation. So that's just our internal, uh, we say the five skandhas, okay? Forms, feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. These things are stimulating us. We are caught up in some kind of feeling or impatience. So impatience is also a passing emotion. Okay, it's a passing feeling. If you don't keep on thinking, oh, why doesn't he hit the chukpi now? It's time. I know it. I feel it's time. But actually, it probably isn't. The guy isn't asleep. I've experienced this many times. The guy who's not asleep, he's watching the time. But for you, somehow you feel time is passing slowly, and you feel very agitated. You can't sit, or your energy is going nuts. That's just a passing feeling, passing emotion. So if if you can recognize that. So the important thing is to recognize that. So that means having mindfulness, mindful awareness. If you recognize that, I am feeling impatient, instead of I am impatient. Do you see the difference between the two words? I am impatient, you identify, that's you, you know. I am impatient. I cannot wait. But I am feeling impatient gives you some space. That means you are feeling this emotion, this feeling of impatience. Just like I am feeling sad, I am feeling happy. Then you can give yourself some space. So this emotion can pass, this feeling can pass. Then you don't have to cling to it. Then that gives you a better chance of letting it go. Okay? So when you're doing a formal practice like meditation or chanting, then this thing comes up. Oh, why is it so slow? Why is it taking so long? Then you can kind of mentally say to yourself, yeah, I have this feeling of impatience appearing. And that may give you some uh, awareness that this feeling has appeared. And if you choose not to uh, cling to it or keep bringing it up, it will pass. This feeling will pass. It passes. It's not permanent. There is nothing, no state that is permanent in your mind. It's all comes and goes. So the second part of the question was about with daily life. Was it? I uh, didn't quite see it. When we're applying the Dharma, we're learning into our daily lives. So yeah, it's the kind of same thing. I used to be a very impatient person, and you don't really have to so like focus on this kind of attribute that you want to improve. We say like in Zen, you have these weeds that are growing in your garden, your weeds that are growing in your mind garden. Then you see, oh, that's impatience. I don't want that. I want to trim it away. Oh, that's kind of anger. Trim that away. We say in meditation, what you do is instead of doing that, you just pull out the weeds, regardless of what they are. So you pull out, then there's no more root. They don't grow anymore, rather than trying to trim. So that means that you just practice, and then these things will tend to take care of themselves. Okay, so like I said, I used to be very impatient. Then after I practiced for some time, uh, my, I think it was it was my mother. One time I was waiting for them to do some kind of errand, and then it took quite a long time. Usually I would be very impatient by then, why are they so slow, old people, so slow, Then, but then I was fine. I think I was just reciting some mantra, and then my father came back and said, "Oh, you must be very impatient." Then my mother was very, somehow she was quite perceptive, and she said, he's not, he's different now. He has patience. He's not so impatient. Then it was true. I wasn't bothered anymore. It's like they take as long as they need to. It didn't really bother me, but it would have bothered me in the past before practicing. So one of the things that we perhaps need to do is trust our practice. Trust that it will work. It does work, but you have to trust it and not keep checking to see, is this working? Is this working? How am I feeling today? That's what a lot of us tend to do. And that is kind of like, I don't know if any of you bake bread or bake cakes. Maybe the MCO you tried baking. A lot of people did. Okay. So when you put the cake in the oven or the bread in the oven, what happens when you keep opening the door every 5 minutes? Does it cook? Does it bake? It doesn't bake. But that's what we're doing to ourselves. When we keep checking our practice, we don't trust our practice. We say, okay, let's open the oven door and see what's going on. Let's say, hey, not happening, nothing happening. Of course, nothing is happening because you are losing all the heat. So if you keep doing that, the bread or the cake will never bake. So that's what we mean by trusting your practice. Letting things happen. That's patience. Letting things take their time, because it will take time. It will take some time. How long I cannot tell you, but it will work. So in your daily life, just keep practicing. And yeah, sometimes you will lose it. That's okay. You're human. You're not a perfectly enlightened being, and even perfectly enlightened beings lose it sometimes. So just realize that we're all human, we're subject to emotions, but when we lose it, we have the mindful awareness to realize, oh, I'm really losing my patience today. Let's, step back, take it easy, and maybe close my mouth, not say too much. Then that's okay. That's part of our practice. Having mindful awareness of what is going on in the present moment is part of our meditation practice. Okay?
Yes, thanks to Lin. Yeah, there's a last question in the chat box.
Okay.
Yeah, from Lee. As I understand, there are three types of patient in Dharma. The first one is patient with enemies. Then the next one is a patient with hardship on the path, and also patient with the ups and downs of life. Can Sunim please elaborate on these three patients?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all patience. If you have a kind of like this intention or this practice, just to be patient with things, whether it's uh, enemies or hardships, ups and downs in life, you will be patient. We don't have to kind of break it down in such great detail, because that's not all. There's many kinds, like uh, patience with your partner, your relationship partner, patience with your children. There are many things which uh, give us opportunity to practice patience. So these difficulties, these hardships, we can see it in two ways. The first way is to see this shouldn't happen to me. This is not the situation that I should be faced with. So we need to, you know, get rid of it, fix it. Or we can see it's a situation that is just part of life and that's something that we can learn from and see what exactly, have some patience with whatever is happening. And then maybe rather than only having one uh, response, which is to reject it or want something different, we can see maybe there are many other possibilities. If we have no patience, we actually cannot see possibilities. We also have no time for other people. Uh, I just want to give you a very, very quick example. Okay. Many years ago, two university professors did this experiment and they got a group of Christian divinity students. This is a top university in the United States. So divinity students are people studying to become Christian priests. Okay. So they should be uh, people with a lot of patience, with a lot of love and compassion. That's what they're studying to become. So they made an experiment where they told them, you have to give a talk on the parable of the Good Samaritan. Now, if you don't know, the Good Samaritan story is about a man who's lying on a road, who's been robbed and injured. And then people pass him, some religious people of his own faith ignore him. They just carry on. They see him suffering, but they ignore him. Then the last person that comes is a Samaritan. The Samaritan is actually enemy of this guy. They're both enemies, you know. But the Samaritan saw he was injured, was hurt, took care of him, helped him, took him to the nearest town, and had his wounds healed. Had somebody take care of his wounds and everything. So that's why we have this Good Samaritan story. It's a very, very famous parable in Christianity. So these professors told these divinity students who are studying to be priests, remember, you're going to have to give a talk on this, okay? Very important. Help somebody. Then in the experiment, they said you have to give a talk on the other side of campus. Okay, it's quite a walk away. So they split them into three groups. First group, they said, okay, you're going to give a talk. You have plenty of time. You should go and go to the start off now. You have time. So then, on the way there, they put an actor who was playing an injured person on the ground, and there's no way that these people could avoid him because it's directly in their path. There's no way they can go around different way. So they had to go past him. So those people that had time, more than 50% or 60, 70% helped this guy. Okay. Then a second group of people, they said, oh, you better, you still have time, but you have to go now. Okay. You can go at a normal pace, but you have to go now because by the time you get there, your lecture will start and you have to give lecture to some important people. So this group of people, less of them help this guy. And remember, they're studying to be priests, okay? Then the third group of people, they said, you're already late. You have no time. You have to rush. You have to run if you can. So these guys ran, to that, and hardly any of them stopped to help this guy, even though he was visibly injured and in pain and suffering. So what does that teach us? And remember, they're studying to be priests, okay? Like people study to be monks or nuns. If you have no time, if you're feeling rushed, you're much less likely to help somebody else. So if you feel as though your life is always on the fast forward button. You don't have time for other people. And that is not a society that we like. We like for us to help each other. So that means to take your hand off the fast forward. Be patient. Slow down. You know, it doesn't matter if you don't beat the amber light or the red light. It only slows you down by extra minute or 2 minutes. Okay, so that's why when we rush, we don't have time for others. But if we slow down, we can feel as if we can be more generous and more helpful and compassionate to others because we have time. So patience is very important.
Okay, thank you, Sunim. I think our Q&A session has come to the end. Thank you,
Okay.
Sunim, thank you, Sunim, for the wonderful answer, and also thank you, everyone, for all the great questions today. Okay,
Thank you, our
now,
host, and thank you all for hosting this and moderating. Thank you.
yeah, thanks, Sunim. Okay, now we are entering the month of November. We would like to give you a brief preview on our November activities. We are going to have a two dialogue series entitled Empowering Buddhist Women Here and Now on 28th of November, and also a conversation on the Yogacara School of Buddhist Philosophy on 21st of November. Lastly, we are going to be one more meditation sessions on next week, guided by Patricia Sneeder, entitled The Mindful Practice of Forgiveness. You are welcome to join us, and please mark down your calendar on every Sunday night.
Okay, thank you, Hansi. Thank you, Hansi, for the reminder to all of us. Tonight's sections almost come to the end, so let us conclude our section with dedication prayers. We would like to invite Sunim to lead us on the dedication prayer.
Okay, so these are the 4 great vows of Buddhism. Sentient beings are numberless. We vow to save them all. Delusions are endless. We vow to cut through them all. The teachings are infinite. We vow to learn them all. The Buddha way is inconceivable. We vow to attain it. May all beings be well, happy, and safe. Thank you. And good night. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much again, Sunim. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us tonight. May all beings be well, happy, and safe. Bye bye, and see you next week. Good night.